Hey guys, Spirit of the Law here. With Mongols now getting access to the Steppe Lancer, I thought it'd be interesting to see how they fit in compared to the civilizations that already had access to them. Similar to Eagle Warriors, we now have 3 Steppe Lancer civilizations, each with something unique to differentiate them. I think Mongols have the most interesting bonus though, with 30% more HP, but missing the last armor upgrade. So how that plays out in different matchups is one of the main things I want to look at. We'll start off by comparing them all in Castle Age. After Bloodlines, you can see Cuman and Tatar Steppe Lancers have 80 HP, while Mongols have 98. The Knight with equivalent upgrades crushes them all with 120. The Knight's attack and armor is also higher, but the Steppe Lancer's extra range means more of them can attack at any one time, so it does better in practice than their stats might imply. As a first impression, it looks like the Mongols' extra HP is probably the most helpful of the Steppe Lancer bonuses. Against Knights, for example, they hold up the best since they take 2 extra attacks. But as I've found in previous tests, Steppe Lancers don't beat Knights with equal numbers. Even if you were to somehow mass 27 of them in Castle Age against an equivalent costing army of Knights, the Knights still come out on top. Mongols lose with the Knights ending with 30% of their HP left, while the more generic Tatars on flat ground lose to Knights with almost half of their HP left. Knights do cost a lot more gold, but it's still not a great result. What I get from this is that the Steppe Lancer has a lot of trouble in open field combat compared to the Knight line, but the Mongol HP bonus is definitely having an effect. At the same time, we're not giving the Tatars their hill bonus, so let's put them uphill and give them a chance to shine. Yeah, it turns out they can't beat Knights with equal resources even when uphill, which is saying quite a bit about either the Tatars' hill bonus, the Steppe Lancer overall, or maybe both, though they did end up doing slightly better than the Mongols in the same starting conditions. I can't be sure they kept their hill advantage at every single moment of the fight, but even one-on-one confirms that Mongol Steppe Lancers and Tatars lose to Knights one-on-one even when uphill. The point is, again, these days the Steppe Lancer isn't an overpowering melee unit, and the Mongols' bonus helps, but doesn't change that as far as I can see. Against archers, they also have lower HP and armor than the Knight line, so again, Steppe Lancers aren't particularly great at holding up to ranged units either. Mongols are obviously a bit better, but again, this isn't really what they're good at. Wait, what are they good at again? Because so far it seems there's no reason to pick them over the Knight line at all. Well, I think there's 3 roles you could argue they're well suited for. The first is in extreme choke points or attacking through a wall. Basically, anytime you can actually make use of multiple rows attacking at once. In that case, Mongols will do better than normal Steppe Lancers since they'll survive more attacks and have less unit turnover. Second, they also do well when they can exploit bad melee pathing. They're not as good as cavalry archers at this, but a group can sometimes pick off pikemen, for example, when they're trying to path to a target unit. Being able to collectively one-shot units and exploit their pathing definitely has some advantages over the Knight. Their third specialty is when raiding. In this case, it offsets your own unit's melee pathing issues. Again, the effect is sort of like cavalry archers, but not quite as good, and they're better at surrounding and picking off individual villagers than most melee units would be. At the very least, the Mongols' extra HP lets them take a bit more archer and town center fire when raiding. But while in the Castle Age, the Mongols enjoy a pure stats advantage over the other Steppe Lancer civilizations, the Imperial Age that's complicated by the fact they're missing the last armor upgrade, so the 24 extra HP isn't quite as good as it looks. To start with melee units, with any unit that does 8 or more damage, the Mongol Steppe Lancers should survive theoretically more attacks than a generic one. In fact, in both Castle Age and Imperial, the Mongols have hands down the best Steppe Lancers when they're up against melee units. When it comes to ranged units though, it's a different story. The last cavalry armor upgrade gives 2 pierce armor, while only 1 melee armor, so it's a more significant upgrade to be missing that in this case. The way the numbers work out with ranged attacks, against any unit that does between 6 and 13 damage, the Mongol Steppe Lancer is worse than the Tatar and Cumans. That covers most of the non-gunpowder ranged units, and all of them do especially well against Mongol Steppe Lancers and Mongol Hussars for the same reason. One thing the Mongols do have going for them in the late game though is their elite Mangadai. They're arguably one of the best unique units in the game, and combined with the Mongols' higher HP Steppe Lancers in front, you have a pretty solid army composition there. So that's the new Mongol Steppe Lancers and how I think they fit in with the other Steppe Lancer civilizations. Overall, they seem to outperform in nearly every situation, aside from against archers and skirmishers in the Imperial Age. Considering they're already strong early and late game, it gives them at least a somewhat interesting option to play for in the mid game. Though again, the knight line is always a good alternative. With 4 different options at the stable now, it's safe to say they aren't a one-trick pony civ. But that's all for this one. Special thanks to Samantha, Riley, Benjamin, and Jean-Paul, along with everyone else on Patreon for their amazing support of the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.